sometimes showing data in a chart doesn't provide enough context nor details. So we want to use tables to show a more detailed view of specific characteristics of each data point. We have a few ways to draw tables with Python. We can use Pretty Table Library to display a simple chart in the console. We first need to import the Pretty Table module, and then we can use it to create a Pretty Table object. And we want to pass in our data sample. And we're just going to use the header first to set up the header of the table. And then next we want to add in lines for each row of data. So we want to say add row. And this is Pretty Table's function, add row. And we're going to add in a list. Actually, instead of data sample, let's just have an empty, no arguments. And then just say this list is going to have style for style of tie, comma. And our second list item would be average price. So in our first row, we can work with print ties. Let's test this out first before we try to finish printing out every tie style. Let's make it a nicely formatted average price number. So we'll just call a function pretty average. We'll pass in a number, my number, and let's say we want to find the average of my number. And we also want to return the formatted 2 decimal points. And we save that to pretty average, so return pretty average. And what we want to do here is say pretty average and then print ties. And now we can add in more. For instance, solid, paisley, striped. And we also want to update our data samples to match what we're printing. So now we have 4 data samples. We're going to print one more for the brand type. So we're just going to say find the average of Gucci ties and print the pretty average of that. And if we were to clear the console and run the file again, we will see that the average is printed like that. Oh, let's actually add a $sign. So let me say clear and Python S5 V3. And so there you go. Now we could potentially pipe out this output into a text file. But this text file isn't really that pretty for printing out or sending as an email attachment. However, Matplotlib does offer some features for outputting PDFs. So let's look at those features. First of all, you're going to have to import the matplotlib library. And then you're going to work with that. So since we already have this from before, I'm just going to erase this line. I'm going to copy and paste some text from before that I've worked with. I'm going to add in some code that I've written just to make it quicker for us to jump into this. So we're going to have a function, count prices for brands, which is used by build table text. And also I want to paste in the function create table, which would be our utility function that creates it. We want to make sure the indentation is correct. Now, there's just one more utility function that we need that would help us create groups of prices. Right, so let's have that. Then let's print out the table. But before we begin, we want to get the brand names. So let's just grab the brand column from my CSV. And then we want to specify the column headers with the price ranges. So let's say the first one is 0 to 50. And then the following ones are $50 increments. Let's just do that real quick. And then we'll have a temporary data file to save 2 columns, just the brand and price. And then we'll actually create the table. And we're going to pass in the brand and price, which is just the brand and price information for our data sample. The price groups would be what we found before, which is how many ties in each price group. And then we also pass in the brand names and the column headers. And we say we want to save the file into S5 prices in table.png. Okay, so I need to actually save the file so that we can run it. And I'm going to type in python s5v3.py. And it turns out I have an indentation error, so let me quickly fix that. I have another typo. Was the file created? We can look at the chart folder. And we can see that it's a file with something in it. So the best way to look at it, once again, is to download your workspace and then view the files, the image files on your computer directly. It's going to be in your charts folder. We named it price and table, so I'm going to open that up. And what we have here is just the ties whose price is discounted compared to their usual price.